feel it's a very important verse. Talks about the great discipline. That means there must be a small discipline. So the main word here in Sanskrit is Mahavrata. Maha, great, Vrata, discipline. So in order to categorize it as Mahavrata, then the practice, when practiced universally without exception due to birth, place, time and circumstances, the yamas become great disciplines. So in verse 29, 30, we looked at the Astanga Yoga and we looked at the 8 limbs. So here Patanjali talks about the yamas. So Mahavrata and Yama, these are the two main words in this particular sutra. Mahavrata, the great discipline linked with Yama. The root word Yama comes from Yam. Yam in Sanskrit means like kind of a restraint, control. Restraint and control. A little bit of restraint gives you discipline. In order to restrain, you need discipline. In order to restrain a lot, you need great discipline. Little bit, little discipline. As we progress in the small disciplines of life, we see a lot of benefit, right? You see? Lots of benefit when you discipline yourself. To do many things by ourselves, we need discipline. Right? So you will find that when there is greater discipline, very less need to be disciplined. Therefore, you become your own counselor, correct? And then eventually you become your own light. And then you become the meaning of light. Another word for light in Sanskrit is guru. So who becomes your guru then? When your discipline is great, who becomes your guru? The great guru? Outside? Somewhere? In Kedarnath? Where? It is inside. So, in this particular sutra, it says that if Mahavrata, the great discipline, becomes a component of our daily life, then the light becomes much more visible. And then we understand in context what yam or yama means. Restraint. Also mentioned last sutra that in particular is ahimsa and mitahara. So yama and yama may be 5 here, 5 there. In Hatha Yoga Pradipika, not much of emphasis given. In some of the literatures, they talk about 10 yama and niyama. But in most of the Hatha Yoga texts, except Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Jarat Samhita and Siva Samhita, don't even emphasize so much. They just say mitahara and ahimsa is very important. Yama and yama. Mitahara means control over the diet, which is very, very difficult, right? Control over, very, very difficult. Oh, difficult. But if we can restrain it, at the same time, that restraint should not be a punishment. This is something which we have to explore. Discipline is looked at as painful, therefore they have coined this term delayed gratification. Delayed gratification means you suffer now, enjoy later. You suffer now, enjoy later, but because you have suffered so much, that enjoyment is short term, then you have to, whatever that you have earned from here, or that which you have the capacity that to earn that more because of this discipline, that earning then goes towards treatment. This is something which you have to realize, that if the discipline is accompanied with pain, then it's not good. How can discipline be accompanied with happiness or pleasure? Discipline in context of the way we have been brought up means there is some form of pain. Mother and father have disciplined us. Not enough mother and father grandmother, grandfather. Not enough then uncle, auntie, sitapa, mama, macha. So many, and then cousin, elder cousins. And not enough then members of society. Not enough teacher, school teacher. Not enough yoga teacher. So many. So seems to be a lot of pain. But here in this particular sutra, it seems like he's not talking about any pain. He just talks about whatever the circumstances. You cannot blame birth. I was born in this particular family. My genetics is like that. My DNA like that. I cannot wake up in the morning. My father also cannot wake up. Grandfather cannot wake up. So therefore, DNA is like that. I cannot wake up lah. So he said no, cannot. Birth DNA tak boleh. The place is too cold lah. How? Or too hot. Or too much food around me, how? So place. Patanjali said, time. According to the Shastras, this time not good to discipline. It's time to really enjoy the moment. According to my astrological calculation, this is the time I should not burden myself with too much of discipline. Another one, circumstances. Circumstances and situations are such that I cannot do yoga every day. Circumstances and situations are such that I cannot be too kind to you. Circumstances and situations are that I should keep on borrowing from as many people as possible. With Patanjali say, none of these are accepted. But at the same time, without all of these, he's not talking about tapas, he's just talking about Mahavrata. Tapas means there is some form of some work there. But here there seems to be no work. So which means the work here seems to be, when we talk about yama, is purely mental. The restraint is purely mental. Everybody doesn't seem to understand or doesn't even seem to notice that there are many things which you are doing. Nobody notices because it's not so much physical. It is very much mind-based. So the great discipline is not so much of what I do physically or what I don't do physically, but it is very much what I'm doing in my mind, with my mind, from the mind. So the Mahavrata is what you are making it happen here. So the Mahavrata is often translated as the great vows. I make a vow, breaking our own ignorance. That is Mahavrata. That you work inside your mind, but it becomes a feeling of sukha. That you train yourself to have these small and becoming bigger disciplines and enjoy it thoroughly. Isn't that a good way? To discipline yourself in such a way that the results are so good for you and you realize the results are so good that it becomes a form of enjoyment, a healthy enjoyment. And this enjoyment is where? This is in context of this particular sutra, which means that please do not view yoga and your practice and your sadhana as hard work. No, it is work which is more so in the mind, and the mind gives you an opportunity to practice. The moment somebody is saying that I am practicing every day and I am enjoying the practice, the change is only here. That they have been able to see so clearly the beautiful benefits of sadhana and the restraint over whatever that has been causing so much of pain. In fact, if there is no restraint, it causes pain, eventually in the form of ill health. So let's look at this, let's understand this, and then slowly implement great disciplines in our life. When? Now!